People understand that murder is wrong. People know innately that the intentional taking of innocent human life is wrong. Every civilized society has laws on their books and penalties regarding these things. And for the Christian, the Bible explicitly says, thou shalt not murder. It doesn't say thou shalt not murder unless ... There is no person, no reasonable person anyway, who thinks murder is ever okay. There's even a large portion of society that believes that the death penalty is wrong because there's the small chance that that person who's convicted might be innocent, so if you take that person's life, that would be an act of murder. So to avoid even the possibility of it, they would rather imprison people for the rest of their natural lives than ever risk being guilty of murder. So my question is this: are there any circumstances that make murder acceptable? Is there a crime that can be committed against somebody that gives them the right to then turn around and murder someone else? Right? What if someone steals from me? And it's a lot. It's a very valuable thing. Does that give me the right to turn around and then murder? Or what if someone was to beat me within an inch of my life? Does that give me the right to then turn around and murder someone else? No, never. Like, the idea is just ridiculous, and we all accept that and know that it's ridiculous. So again, I'm going to ask, what could ever possibly make murder acceptable? What crime committed against anyone could give them the right to turn around and murder someone else, to take an innocent life? Is there any circumstance that anyone can think of that would make it acceptable or necessary or right or possibly even good? Like, what if someone was to say to you, you don't understand, this crime that was perpetrated against me, this crime that was committed against me, the only way I will ever get over it, the only way I will ever be able to move on, the only way I will ever be okay or be whole is if I'm allowed to turn around and murder someone else. Would murder be okay then? Or would you still think it's wrong? See, here's the thing. That is the exact argument presented for abortion. I know people try to say the baby's not alive yet, or they try to say the baby's not human yet, or hasn't achieved personhood yet. And we all know that's crap. We all know that's a bunch of baloney. Most people that have any education at all know that since the 80s, science itself has agreed that life begins at conception. And today we even have a picture of the spark of life. And then you have more science that says humans can only conceive humans. So whatever is in the woman's womb can only ever be a human. And we know they're alive, because if they weren't, why do you have to kill them? Yeah, you have people who try to use dehumanizing language. Like, they'll say something like, well, it's just a clump of cells. I have a news flash. You're a clump of cells. I'm a clump of cells. We're all clumps of cells. They'll say, well, it's just a fetus. Yeah, fetus, Latin for little one or offspring, a scientific term used to describe a stage of development, not a species. It's an alive human fetus. So again, no real or rational arguments. We all know unborn babies are alive. We all know they're human. That's just the facts. I think we all innately understand that age, location, and the level of development are irrelevant. They don't determine anybody's worth, and we all know it. So all of those arguments are crap too. And here's a news flash for everyone. The woman's feelings are not more important than the unborn baby's life. We all know that too. We know that no matter the age, the location, the development of the baby, or how the woman may feel, it's irrelevant. And then we get to this idea of innocence. Because murder is defined as taking innocent human life by another human. So think about this. A baby that's still in the womb, I don't think there's any better example of innocent human life than an unborn baby. So since the baby is alive, the baby is human, and the baby is innocent, the only thing we can call their intentional killing is murder. And again, that's just the facts. We get women that say, well, it's my body, so it's my choice. What utter nonsense. No one, and I mean absolutely no one, has unfettered bodily autonomy to do anything they want with their own body. Every single person is restricted in some way, shape, or form that way. And besides that, let's just put that aside for a second. If it was actually her body we were talking about, she would be the one dead at the end of the abortion, not the baby. The reality is the unborn baby is a completely independent, alive, and innocent human being. So to kill any unborn baby is murder. And then something to add, like to the whole bodily autonomy argument, I don't know if they realize it or not, but any bodily autonomy argument, that's a human right. They would say it's a human rights issue. Yeah, the baby's a human, therefore the baby should get the same rights. So they're only bolstering the autonomy argument for the baby as well. What about the arguments that are put up all the time about medical complications like life of the mother, or the other ones like rape and incest? I'm sorry, these are bogus arguments too. First of all, they account for roughly 1% of abortion, meaning we could end almost 99% of all abortions if everyone would agree that any other kind of abortion is wrong. But we know that's never going to happen. It's just a straw man argument meant to try and pull on people's heartstrings and justify evil. But more importantly, in none of these cases are any of these unborn babies guilty of anything, let alone something that's worthy of death or deserving of death. We should always be trying to save lives in every case. Even whenever the life of the mother may be in jeopardy, which is very rare nowadays, we should always be trying to save every life, always trying. And we should allow God to decide, not us. So again, I'm going to ask, what makes murder ever acceptable? What about potentially sparing someone pain and heartache and mental anguish? Well, if that's a valid argument, I would ask, why does it only apply to the most innocent and helpless of all human beings? Like, why doesn't this argument apply for 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds? Because I know a lot of new parents where their 1-year-old, 2-year-old, and 3-year-old is causing them a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, a lot of mental anguish. And that's not even to mention teenagers. I mean, come on, I think most of us know sometimes teenagers live to be a pain and a heartache and give us mental anguish. And it most certainly doesn't apply to adults. People often talk about being reasonable when it comes to abortion. The claim is that people like me aren't reasonable and aren't willing to have reasonable compromises or conversations when it comes to abortion. Well, I ask, when is it ever reasonable to murder? But what if a woman or a child is raped or molested? What if the baby's the product of incest and carrying the child to term would cause untold mental anguish? So the argument is really going to be that making this woman or this child who was raped or molested or whatever, that turning them into a murderer, turning them into a perpetrator on top of them being a victim of rape or molestation or incest, that's your reasonable solution? That's what's going to cure their mental anguish? Seriously, there's no other reasonable measures that could be taken except turning the victim into a perpetrator and a murderer. That's just absurd. And I would argue it's evil. The truth of the matter is anyone who thinks abortion, the murder of unborn babies, is somehow okay under any circumstance, this person is a participant in the pro-murder cult. Pro-murder culture. Whether it's willing or unwilling, you're a participant. This isn't pro-choice. That's a lie. That term is a lie and a misnomer. It is pro-murder. Because here's the thing, if it was really pro-choice, someone would be taking the time to ask the baby if they want to be murdered or not. Like if you're someone who finds yourself offended by what I'm saying, the reality is it might just be because you're a member of the pro-baby murder cult with a pro-baby murder stance. Deep down, we all know you're an accessory to murder, and you know it. I think that's probably why this is so uncomfortable. Murder's never okay. Murder's never justified. Murder is always wrong. It's always evil. And for anyone who calls himself a Christian, who claims to be a follower of God, a follower of Jesus Christ, the Bible doesn't say, thou shalt not murder unless ... And you know it. You know it. Stop lying to yourself. Stop calling something that is evil good. Stop trying to justify murder and repent of your sin. And for those who are not saved, it's time. The time has come for you to turn from your bloodlust, turn from your evil, turn from this baby murdering death cult and come to Jesus. It's time to walk away from evil and repent. Because this has got to stop. This has got to stop. Christians need to rise up and stop this slaughter of the unborn. We must rise up and protect the most innocent among us. The way we treat the most helpless and the most innocent among us is what defines us as a nation. May God help us.